it's time to grab yourself a cuppa and let's talk about the essentials that I think every beginner needs to know when they start learning Kung Fu.
Hello folks, how the devil are you? You can see my breath, it's that cold. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Matt. This channel is about Chinese martial arts and how they enrich our lives, and the weather outside was crappy today, so I wasn't filming in the woods. I was training in here today and I figured I'd just do something in the studio. So we're talking about 5 things I wish I knew before I started Kung Fu about 18 years ago, and how I probably would be a bit better had I done these things. So hopefully this is of value to some people. Number 1 is focus on the basics. It's such a cliche, you've heard this before, but it's so important. Really focus on drilling the basics. Whatever style you're learning, what is the essence of that style? A lot of the advanced stuff is just good fundamentals put together. There's some stuff that happens along the way where your depth of understanding increases, but certainly for beginners, opposed to having loads and loads and loads of moves, you're actually better off just getting a handful of basics really down. Take that, drill that, did a video about drilling, link somewhere up here. Drill that as much as you can, as often as you can, so that your basics are absolutely solid. And one thing I've learned from doing that is, if you've got good basics, when it comes to learning the next thing, you can pick it up so much quicker, opposed to, just having window dressing and making the shapes of the movements, using your core, your alignment, your footwork, everything coming together to execute a technique. That's what makes it good, I think. And something else I say as well, actually, is the basics help to condition your body ready for the rest of the style you're about to learn. So number 2, and I am the worst for this, and I've had to learn the hard way, listen to your body. No one likes injuries. To be fair, you can't do martial arts forever and not get injuries. We all pick up bits and pieces on occasion, but just be sensible. I feel like I'm now talking to myself like 18 years ago, because it is no fun having injuries. You do learn from them. I did a video about that as well, but I'd rather actually not have to learn from them quite so much, because it is no fun having injuries, especially if you can't perform to your maximum ability. It's so frustrating. If you focus on the basics and get your body strong enough, hopefully you're less likely to get those injuries. But even if you do throw yourself in and you pick up some injuries, maybe they're not so bad. He says, hopefully. You in 10, 20, 30, 40 years is not going to thank yourself for that one moment of glory, and then you have a lifetime of issues after that. That one moment of glory is rarely worth it. So just, I feel like if that helps at least one person, this is worth it. And that leads us on nicely to number 3. Focus on the mechanics. Now, this is the kind of stuff that as we all get older and improve in our Kung Fu, that's what we're doing. So newbies might want the new movements, they might want all these flashy things, but actually the more you go on, the more you're focusing on structure and alignment, use of the waist, power generation, all this kind of stuff, stances. If anything, the basics get more and more fascinating the more you go on. And I would say lots of the stuff that's considered more advanced is just the basics put together in an interesting way. And so if you start early on in your training by focusing on that structure, the alignment, making the lines nice and clean, smooth, without any excess movement or wobbles, that then starts to become what I consider good Kung Fu. And the earlier you do it, the sooner you get your mind into that way of thinking, the better. Ultimately, the mechanics is largely what makes it work. So, obviously you need a bit of body weight and sometimes a bit of force, and just going at it does help if you're in a sparring type situation. But if you can stay relaxed, have good structure and posture and stance, etc., you'd be surprised it takes less effort, and you can be more relaxed when you go through it. And then when you've got a solid understanding of it, in theory, running through forms and things like that, and then applying it with a partner, all of those mechanics, then obviously you've got to maybe adjust for the partner and things like that, but that's just what makes Kung Fu. It's just so beautiful. You can get that. And of course, that's what people who've been doing it a long time are focusing on. So if you can focus on that from early on in your training, then you will be laughing 10 years down the line. Now, number 4, potentially a slightly controversial one, because I know not everybody sees this the same way. However, the sooner you start learning a little bit of Chinese, the better in my books. Now, I'm not fluent in Chinese. There's loads of incredible people on the internet who do Chinese martial arts who are so much better than me, and I should take my hat off to you. But even just a little bit of Chinese goes a long way. At some point in doing Chinese martial arts, you're going to be learning about the names of movements or something about Chinese culture, and there'll be Chinese terminology. Even just knowing a little bit of Chinese just adds to this depth of this incredible experience you're having of learning Chinese martial arts. And I wish I had started from day one learning a bit of Mandarin, or if there's another dialect you want to learn. When I go to China, I can chat with people, catch up, find out what's been going on, have a chat with random people if we go to a competition or sightseeing or whatever. It just adds so much more colour to the trip. So for example, the last time I went to Spain, this is going somewhere, we wanted a deck of playing cards. My Spanish is just above nothing. Just into, having a little bit of chat and trying to conjugate some things. So it turned out loads of shops in the area we were in, all ran by Chinese families. So I sort of went in and was like, "You Chinese?" in Mandarin. Oh. And then, "Oh, you speak Mandarin? Oh, how did you learn it?" Oh. And then you have that chat that everybody has when they speak to someone who knows, who speaks Chinese. And then, asking them where they're from. And it was so cool. "No, we don't have any cards." "Oh, well, thanks for your time. Go to another shop, have the same conversation." "Oh, you do have some cards, lovely." But it was really, really interesting. I said that was going somewhere, sorry. Learning Chinese just adds colour to your life. Learning any language, but seeing as you're learning Chinese martial arts, it kind of goes hand in hand. You might as well start with at least a little bit of Chinese. And lastly, it sounds like a cop-out and it sounds really cheesy, but it is all about the journey. You can't rush getting better at Kung Fu as much as we try. You can be mindful and intentional in your training to focus on the things that work, like focusing on your basics, focusing on the mechanics, your alignment, your posture, two-partner work, drilling things, all of that. If you really focus on those things, it will make you much better than just being super casual about the whole affair. So those things will help, but ultimately you will not get better overnight, and that's the whole point of Kung Fu, is just eating bitter, enjoying the journey, the friends you make when you're training, when you travel to other clubs and meet people, when you go to competitions. And my life has been so enriched by doing Chinese martial arts. My life would be completely different if I didn't go to that first class and start the ball rolling. It's like this snowball effect where learn a little bit of Chinese, go and do a few performances here, do a competition over there, get to go to China, get to meet people out there, do performances out there. And we are part of this lovely, lovely community. People are doing fantastic things in Chinese martial arts and sharing it and talking to people. And I'm just so pleased to be part of this awesome community. And by training yourself, you are part of it as well. So that sounds like a really wishy-washy way to finish this video, but that's how I feel. Chinese martial arts is awesome. I like a bit of a fight, but also the focus on these body mechanics and alignment and all that other stuff is what's going to keep me going into my old age. So if you're new to Chinese martial arts, stances is what you want to have a little look at. So important. If you've been around a while and you know your stances, then maybe having a little look at the wooden man and what I do on that is also perhaps what you want. Really appreciate your time, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.